I am calling the 2022 Northwest Suburban Republican Lincoln Day Dinner to order. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, it is a conceit of the progressives and the left, the entire spectrum, from moderate, so-called moderate Democrats to the Marxist on the extreme, that we need pay no attention to history, that the legacy of the traditions of the societies that have preceded us mean nothing, and that it is okay for humanity to wipe the slate and start over again, remaking man, ignoring Judeo-Christian civilization, ignoring the civilization of the West, ignoring everything we've been taught by people from conservatives, frankly, respecting history, from Moses Maimonides to Thomas More to Thomas Aquinas to Edmund Burke to John Adams, James Madison, and down to one of the founders of our party, Abraham Lincoln of Illinois, whom we honor tonight. It was Mr. Lincoln who said in his first inaugural, "We must be friends." It was Mr. Lincoln who said in his second inaugural, "We act with malice toward none, with charity toward all." It was Mr. Lincoln who gave us the mission in the address at Gettysburg to make sure that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. It is the mission of this party to live out Mr. Lincoln's vision. Now, you know, Mr. Lincoln came to Illinois having grown up in Indiana, having been born in Kentucky, and just on the other side of Kentucky is Tennessee. And we are graced tonight with the presence of the senior senator of Tennessee, the Honorable Marsha Blackburn, of whom you will hear more in a moment. At this time, please, I would like to call on George Kemper and his sister Joni Kemper, please to come forward and join me on the podium. George Kemper is a veteran of the United States Army, saw combat in the Middle East, a native of the Chicago area. He's now running for Illinois State Representative in the 12th District. He's unopposed as the Republican candidate. And his little sister Joni of Park Ridge, Illinois, within the Northwest Suburban area, Joni of Park Ridge, goes to college in Senator Blackburn's backyard. You need to know about Senator Blackburn that she is a passionate advocate of the arts. In fact, a friend of many in this room, Governor Don Sundquist of Tennessee, appointed then private citizen Blackburn to be the executive director of the Tennessee Commission on music and entertainment and motion pictures and so forth, to support and invigorate those businesses in Tennessee. And in her backyard is a college, Belmont College, that has a wonderful program for singers and songwriters. She is the leader, Senator Blackburn is the leader of the U.S. Senate caucus protecting the rights and interests of singers and songwriters. And here from Park Ridge is Joni Kemper, who is a singer-songwriter who is going to grace us tonight with our national anthem once the colors are posted. So this is a girl from Park Ridge who goes to college in Senator Blackburn's backyard, and her brother, candidate George Kemper, a veteran of the wars in the Middle East, will lead us momentarily in the Pledge of Allegiance. But first, please, I call on the color guard of American Legion Post 1983, under the command of Commander Mark Kwiatkowski, who is assisted tonight by Chaplain Pete Justin and Finance Officer Tony Thomas. Commander Kwiatkowski, post colors.
Detail. Pump. Left face. Prepare to post colors.
Mr. Kemper, will you join me, please? And lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, George. Joni Kemper. May we have the music, please, for the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched are so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Joan. Commander Kwiatkowski, take charge of your unit.
Detail. Right face. Forward. March.
American Legion Post 1983, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen and George, we thank you all for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to remain standing for just one more moment. I'm going to call on Max Rice. Max, will you join me, please, here on the podium? Max is a young man, a specialist in information technology, very brave, having great confidence in what we can do with him. He has agreed to be the Republican nominee for the United States Congress in this district, the 9th Congressional District. He will give bedevilment to Jan Schakowsky this fall. Max, we hope to support you with more than a prayer, but let's begin with prayer.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, no, yeah, I'm not in information technology, though. I'll take it, though. I'll take it. I'll take the, yeah, so send smears. But, this is really weird. So I've been going to synagogue every morning, and they have me wear a mask. Can you believe that? Not because of COVID, but because I'm running for Congress. They don't want to catch that. I don't blame them. But no, thank you so much. This is so cool to have speaking in front of Joe Morris, and also like one of the very few senators that I like, Senator Marsha Blackburn. Round of applause for her, please. Yeah. To say a prayer every morning, and you only need 10 people. You only need 10 people for a minion. And when God saved the people, was trying to save Sodom and Gomorrah, he only required 10 righteous people. So I know we're all jaded about politicians, but there are a few good ones. So thanks, Senator Blackburn. And so I don't mess this up. I got my prayer book. I stole it, just kidding. But don't want to have a Roseanne Barr moment. And there's so many prayers that we say every day. We pray for everything. And so there was a big decision to make on what prayer I wanted to say. And I'm going to go with the Shema. I know there's some Jews here. You guys probably know it. We say it every morning. We say it every night. And I'm going to say in Hebrew, because the whole point of prayer to me, and also a lot of smart people like the Baal Shem Tov, is that it's our opportunity to connect to God. And so, just use this as a time to connect to God, even if you don't understand the words. But simply, the point of the Shema is simple, in my opinion. It's, one, that God is real, which the Rambam says is the foundation of all wisdom. It's really hard to have any sort of political debate if someone thinks that you put rocks in a blender and 1,000 years later they'll start talking to each other. So I think that was the big tent to start everything, that God is real. Two, God is one. I know we're in a primary right now, and it's easy to point fingers, and the other side is this, and the other side is that. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that we're one side. We're all on Team God. And then finally, tell your kids about it. We're very fortunate to live in a country where we're allowed to talk about God without getting shot, stoned, ridiculed. So that's really cool, but that's also my main point of the Shema. So I'm going to read it right now. And then, thank you. I got to go study information technologies. Okay, please rise. And I'm supposed to cover my eye for the first part. Shema, where we go? Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'hafta eitz Adonai Elohecha, b'chol lavacha, u'b'chol nafshacha, u'b'chol meodecha. Ve'hayu ha'barim ha'ele asher anachi metzavcha chayom, al lavecha. Vishnanantam levanecha, u'vevarta bam, v'shiftacha, b'vetecha, u'vleftecha, b'derech, u'vleftecha, u'vshukabecha, u'vkumecha, u'kshartam la'ot al yodecha, ve'hayu la'totafot bein enecha, u'kshartam al mizot bein techa, u'visharecha. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Max.
And pray for my victory too. And
Thank you, Max. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. You have a salad in front of you. Soup will follow that. We have a brief program while you're having the salad and soup. Then we'll break for dinner and return with Senator Blackburn. I want to acknowledge a couple of people who are in the room. I want to make a point to Senator Blackburn that Chicago and Illinois are known throughout the nation for some fairly serious problems. But as you look around the room, Senator, you will see there are close to 1,000 people here tonight who are committed to making a difference, to doing something to overcome those problems. And I want you to know, Senator, who the leaders of this troop are. With us in the room tonight is the chairman of the Republican Party of Illinois, Don Tracy. Don, where are you? Here's Don Tracy. In the room tonight is the national committeeman of the Republican Party, Rich Porter. Rich. In the room tonight is the national committee woman of the Republican Party, Demetra Damonte. Demetra. In the room tonight is the chairman of the Republican Party of Cook County, Sean Morrison. Sean, where are you? There's Sean. In the room tonight is the chairman of the Republican Party of the city of Chicago. Yes, there is one. Steve Bolton. Where are you, Steve? Steve is here. Senator, that's the point. The Republican Party in Chicago and the Chicago area and Illinois is real, and we're not about to stand by to let the Democrats take us down the drain. We want you to take that word back to Washington when you go. And now, if I may please, I'd like to call on two of the leaders of the Northwest Suburban Republican Party, the committeeman of Wheeling Township, Kathy Penner, and the committeeman of Schaumburg Township, Joe Felici. Kathy, Joe, will you join me, please?
Actually, you're just stuck with me. You'll see Kathy a little bit later. Oh, Kathy's welcome to come up if you like. She'll be up later when we do the award to the senator. I want to start by thanking our keynote speaker this evening, United States Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, who you will be hearing from shortly, and our MC for the evening, Joe Morse. I'm sure they're both going to do a wonderful job. I hope you'll enjoy our 15th annual Lincoln Day dinner. You will notice we're doing things a little bit differently this year. My comments and introductions will be now while you are enjoying your soup and salad. When we're done with the soup and salad, the senator will be introduced and dinner service will be stopped. It will be paused. The senator will speak. When she is finished speaking, we will resume the dinner service. sometime during the dinner service, probably toward the end, maybe during the dessert time, we will hear from our special sponsors for this evening, which are our state senate candidate and several of our gubernatorial candidates or their lieutenant governors. And then we'll be hearing from the Illinois GOP. They will be followed by the mega raffle, and then you'll be able to depart. I know that the governor candidates have been scheduled for a debate tonight at 7 o'clock. It's to go from 7 to 8, so we'll probably be hearing from the lieutenant governor candidates. But we have told all the candidates that if they are finished with the debate and they want to drive out here, there's a good chance that we'll still be going by the time they come, because we probably won't be starting dinner service till sometime after 8 o'clock. I want to begin by saying that it's gratifying to see so many of you over so many years to attend our dinner. Every year we hit another milestone. And since we started the dinner 15 years ago, we have our total income in the last 15 years has exceeded $1.75 million. And in fact, over those 15 years, we have returned in excess of $1.25 million to our host organizations. And they use that money to continue their good work in trying to elect Republicans to office. So thank you for making the last 15 years so successful. Now is part of the program where I get to thank people who helped. And I'm going to go through this quickly this year. First, I want to thank all of you who purchased ads in our program book. Also those who bought dinner tickets and those of you who have bought raffle tickets or will be buying raffle tickets later on during the dinner. I want to point out that the program book is our most profitable book that we have had in the history of the dinner, and so we're very happy about that. Thank you very much, and I would urge that you look through the book, take one with you, and try to patronize the people who advertise in here, and tell them that you got the Lincoln Day Dinner book. Now, the dinner wouldn't be a success without the work of our dinner committee, our executive committee, and I want to introduce them, starting with Kathy Penner, who's my co-chairman and is the committeeman of Wheeling Township. And Kathy, I don't know where, she's right here. So thank you, Kathy. Then Katie Dolan-Balmer, she's our media director. She's actually responsible for the design and actually putting the book together. She does a wonderful job. She's from Hanover Township. Ken Jochum, sitting up here is an elected official, and he's our candidate liaison who tries to round up all the candidates and elected officials to come and participate in the dinner. And if you look around the room, you'll see he did a great job with that. And Bob Vintage is sitting here at the table. He's our program book coordinator from Schaumburg Township. Next on the thank you list are our local Republican Township committeemen who participate in the dinner and members of the dinner committee. And since time is short, I'm not going to introduce all of them, but I would ask that the township committeemen from our 10 Toast townships and members of their dinner committee please stand up briefly. There's about at least 20 of you, so many of you should be standing up. I only see a couple. I don't know where the rest of you are, but they're all here at the dinner somewhere. So thank you very much. We appreciate your help. The 22 election season is upon us, and our local organizations are prepared for it. We have several current state, county, township, and other local elected officials and candidates in the audience tonight, and I would like each of them to stand up. Now, there are a lot of them, so will all current elected officials or candidates, please stand up. Now, there's a lot of you, so stand up. Come on. There's a lot more of you. Come on, what about over this end of the dinner? Come on, I know there's a lot of you. Stand up and be recognized. We have quite a lot of wonderful candidates, and we're wishing them all the best of luck, and our organizations are going to work very hard to get them elected. So at this point, I'm just going to end, and I'm going to say enjoy your soup and salad. Joe Morris will be up here shortly, and then he'll introduce our guest speaker. And she's on a tight time frame, so please give her the courtesy of your attention. And when the time is up and she has to leave, we're going to give her an award, and then she'll be on her way. We don't want her to miss her flight. So thank you. Enjoy the dinner.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you now, please, if you have something in your mouth, whether it is food or beverage, please swallow it and do not add anything for the next 20 seconds. Because I'm going to say something that is going to make you gasp, and I don't want you to choke. Are you hearing me? This is for your safety. If you have food in your mouths, please swallow now, and do not eat or drink anything for the next 20 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome tonight the senior senator from Tennessee. Her name is Marsha Blackburn, and you need to know this about her. Marsha Blackburn is a lifelong bitch. Yes, I said it. Now, that's not my opinion. Who said that about Senator Blackburn was the People's Daily, the official organ of the Communist Party of China, the dominant news medium in Communist China. They said that about this woman. Now, why is it that the Communist Chinese hate Marsha Blackburn? You can eat now. I think the shocking moment is behind us. Why do the Communist Chinese hate Marsha Blackburn? Because she tells the truth about them. And they don't like it when the people tell the truth about them. We know some others who don't like it when we tell the truth about them, and the Constitution, we protect against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We understand that. But the Communist Chinese hate Marsha Blackburn because she points out that they're bullies in their neighborhood. They're tyrants to their own people. They force women to have abortions. I mean, they don't give them a choice. They don't encourage it. If you've had too many children or you're the wrong person to be having a baby, they force you into our clinic and they take the baby out of you whether you like it or not. Planned Parenthood's wet dream, I suppose. Speaking of Planned Parenthood, by the way, they hate her too because she's made no bones in the Senate about calling them to account for their various prevarications, their monetization of their industry, their lies about what they do with the body parts, the dirty hidden secret about their origins as a plan for African-American genocide. That's the truth. She tells the truth about them. But the Communist Chinese hate her because she tells the truth about what they do to the American people. She tells the truth about the threat they pose to us. She tells the truth about how the Communist Chinese during the Obama administration stole from the United States government every personnel record, every record of the health insurance, the retirement accounts, the background information on every federal judge, every member of Congress, and every one of 2 million federal civil servants. Millions and millions of electronic records on people who work for the United States government are now sitting in the bowels of the security agencies in Beijing because President Obama and his vice president, a guy named Joe Biden, let the Communist Chinese steal it. And she tells the truth about the threat that the Communist Chinese pose to us and to other free peoples around the world, and so they say this kind of thing about her. Now, she's not a quiet woman. She never has been. She was a businesswoman in her youth in Tennessee. Actually, she grew up in a great little town in Mississippi called Laurel in southeastern Mississippi. It's actually a very nice town. Some wonderful people, besides Senator Blackburn, come from Laurel. People like, do you know the name Parker Posey? an American actress, or the great Leontine Price, the fabulous American operatic soprano, comes from her hometown. It's a wonderful little hometown. Then she went from there to Mississippi State University. Everybody knows about Ole Miss, the big football team school. But Mississippi State is actually the biggest university in Mississippi, and it's the greatest research institution in Mississippi, training more doctors and PhDs and JDs and so on than any other institution in Mississippi. And she went to that institution on an earned scholarship, a 4-H scholarship, where she got a BS degree in home economics. Now, there are some people who sneer at the field of home economics, but if you actually pay attention to the field, it is one of the backbones upon which modern American social life is built. And the people who work in the field of home economics have made a huge difference in our schools and our institutions around this country. But you know, earning a BS degree in something having to do with the home has served her very well when she became a United States congressman and had to deal with BS in the House. It made her an expert in dealing with BS in the House, and she became a member of the United States House of Representatives after she served as a Tennessee state senator representing her district in and near Nashville. She rose in the Tennessee Senate to be the Republican whip, and one of the great fights she fought should be an inspiration for all of us in Illinois. She helped lead the fight to prevent Tennessee from enacting a state income tax. There is no state income tax in Tennessee. And the people of Tennessee have Marsha Blackburn to thank, among others, for that fact. Now, wise people in Illinois would compare Tennessee, for example, with Illinois and notice some of the differences in their tax policy and their regulatory policy and wonder, why is it that the Tennessee economy is booming and the Illinois economy is not quite so healthy? Well, Marsha Blackburn has a lot to tell people in Illinois, and her colleagues in the Republican Party of Tennessee have a lot to teach people in Illinois about that, and we do well to pay attention. She went from the Tennessee Senate to the United States House of Representatives. She served 8 terms. She was elected 8 times to the United States House of Representatives. In her last election to the House of Representatives, she had 2 opponents, one Democrat, one opponent. Between the 2 of them, the best they could do was barely 25% of the vote. She got more than 72% of the vote in her district in her last election. In 2020, she became United States Senator. She was elected by the people of Tennessee to represent them in our upper house. She is now the senior senator from Tennessee. She is the ranking member, the chief Republican member of the Senate subcommittee, United States Senate subcommittee, that deals with, among other things, data privacy protection. On a day-to-day basis, she's looking out for all of us. I mentioned that problem when the Obama administration let the Chinese steal our federal privacy records. She's also watching out for the protection of our personal privacy records in this increasingly dangerous digital age. That's a very important mandate, and she's the top Republican on that committee. When we take control of the Senate, she will be the chairman, and she will be in charge of data protection for the United States government and for us, and we need her in that position, which is why we need to send a Republican to the United States Senate from Illinois in 2022 to help build that Republican majority and make her chairman. She also has the unenviable task of being the lone Republican woman, and one of the few non-lawyers, for that matter, on the Senate Judiciary Committee, chaired by a man named Durbin. You may have heard of him. When Amy Coney Barrett was being shepherded through the process of confirmation, this is the woman, the Republican woman on the Judiciary Committee, who took her by the hand and helped lubricate the process, make the gentle introductions to members of the Senate and so forth to help get that majority of conservative-oriented, jurisprudentially aware and awake textualists and originalists on the Supreme Court of the United States, which is going to make a difference for a generation. She played a very important part in that role. She's a leader in the Senate on issues like taxing and regulation. We need to have more of her. We need to push her into the leadership, which is why we need to elect more Republicans to the Senate across the country. I've told you what the communist Chinese think of Marsha Blackburn. That's sort of the equivalent of Adolf Hitler saying, "That bastard Churchill is a mortal threat to Nazi Germany." Well, Herr Hitler, you're absolutely right, and on behalf of Mr. Churchill, we accept the accolade. On behalf of Senator Blackburn, we accept the accolade from the Communist Chinese. By our lights, she is a champion of the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the senior senator from Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn. Thank you so much.
All right. What a great crowd. Okay, let's see if I can get this thing out of here. There we go. What a great group. Happy Warrior, Freedom Fighters, Illinois style. I love it. I love it. I am absolutely thrilled to join you tonight. And what a great way to get ready for the 22 election season. And I love the fact that you all have some robust primaries going on. So happy to be in the land of Lincoln for your Lincoln Day. I think if he were here with us, he would say, Senator Blackburn, don't talk too long. Use the second inaugural or the Gettysburg Address as a way to say what you need to say and sit down. And I think if Ronald Reagan were here, he would say, just remember, we are all family. And if someone agrees with you 80% of the time, they are your friend and not your enemy. So, and we need to keep our attention. Reagan would tell us to keep our attention on the prize and on who we are fighting and what we're fighting for. Today, flying up here from Nashville, how many of you have been to Nashville? Love it? Got any country music fans? Yeah. You know that song, Let's Give Them Something to Talk About? I think Joe Biden's lips sing that every day because he is giving the world something to talk about. I was making a list. Got my UT orange glasses here. Any UT baseball fans? No. Oh, I can't believe it. You know, come on. Okay, here are some of the things that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have managed to carry off this year. It's like the greatest hits of bad policy. You know, you just can't make this stuff up. You really can't. Here we go. They thought they were going to establish a disinformation governance board so they can shut up conservatives. But are we going to let them do that? No. Look at what they've done to inflation. Look at what is happening at the price at the pump. Look at what is happening at the grocery store, to your clothing, to shoes, to fertilizer for farmers. The price is through the roof. I had a lady the other day in Tennessee said, you know, Marsha, I think these people in D.C. need to come down here and go to the grocery store with me. They keep saying it's an 8% inflation. I think they forgot a zero. And so, you know, inflation is through the roof. Crime in the streets, taxes, drugs, fentanyl. Go talk to a sheriff. They will tell you 80% of their drug apprehensions, fentanyl. Okay, another thing they're pushing, the Green New Deal. How's that working for you? Yeah, court packing, D.C. statehood, out of control spending for the federal government, increasing regulation. China, as Joe mentioned, they can't figure out how to deal with China. They forgot about Americans in Afghanistan. But I tell you who did not forget about them is our men and women in uniform and our veterans. And if you have ever served this country, stand up. Let us say thank you to you. All of our veterans. God bless you for that service. Now we have the issues with Russia, Ukraine. They want abortion on demand. And the kicker of all kickers, they want an open southern border. I miss President Donald J. Trump. I miss him every single day. I miss those policies, and a lot of our friends and neighbors do too. Now, a few years from now, when we talk about the Biden doctrine, what we're going to talk about, I think, is that the Biden administration was there to protect the government, to protect big business, but not to protect the people. What they did was take away power from the people, take away freedoms, and then try to push that into a small little group of people in Washington, not in your states, not in your counties, not in your cities. Put it into a little bitty ball, and they want to control it and then divvy back out the freedom that they want you to have. But people are wising up to this, and I think this is why. The Democrats have an agenda. It's a to-do list to take away that power and that strength. And when you talk to Republicans, we have a vision for what we want this country to be, for individuals to be able to exercise their freedom. We know that freedom, free people, free markets solve a lot of problems. And we know that if you can protect your faith, your family, your freedom, if you are hopeful for better days, if you want everyone to have equal opportunity, that we can continue to function as a free nation. We as Republicans also know that this nation is strong because of robust, respectful, bipartisan debate. And we know that it is true what President Lincoln said. We are intended to be and must be a government of the people with the capital P. Read that Constitution. When people is mentioned, it's in caps. We the people, a government of, by, and for the people. So, the question is, and I know you're probably sitting out there thinking about this, what are we going to do about it? Well, for starters, I have a great idea. You want to hear it? I'm full of good ideas. Top of my list in November, let's fire Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. That's what we are going to do for starters. But we can't stop there. We've got a country to save. And everybody's got a lot of ideas about where we go, how we do this, and how we pull this together. Some of the things that I'm working on that I have that are going to give more freedom back to people, more money in your pocket. How many of you are tired of paying higher taxes? How many? Yeah, so let's get going on this. You know, sometimes the best thing to do is use a little bit of humor and point out the ridiculous nature of what our Democratic friends, and by the way, they control everything in D.C. now. They said, just give us the power, the third term of Barack Obama, and we will reach utopia. And this is their utopia. spending us into oblivion, over $30 trillion in debt. So I came up with the bill. I've called it the Stop the Out of Control Spending Spree Act. And here's what it would do. It would say anytime we hit high inflation, which is 4%, that you cannot pass a spending bill without a 2/3 majority of the House and the Senate. So, if people want to spend your money that's coming out of your pocket, they've got to have 2/3 of the body agree with you. I think that's a pretty good idea. Stop the spending. Do a hiring freeze. Do a salary freeze. When it comes to regulation, Donald Trump took 1,600 regulations off the books the first year. In his total 4 years, he did 22 regulations. In 4 years, Joe Biden has done 69 regulations his first year. Anybody know what these are focused on? Energy. And it's one of the reasons that we are no longer drilling or exploring, or why people can't get drill permits. So stop the regulations. There's a little formula I use. When I was in the state Senate, I used to use this, and I've carried it through my political career. It's real simple, but it works every time. It is less regulation plus less taxation plus less litigation equals more innovation and job creation. It works every single time. And you know what? The good thing about it, it is plain old common sense. And everybody in here who's a small business owner or an employer, you know it because you're living it every single day. Okay, when it comes to taxes, let's extend the Trump tax cuts. That is something that we should make permanent. When it comes to this country's sovereignty, I think we should put the Remain in Mexico policy back in place. We should keep Title 42, and for goodness sakes, let's do what the Border Patrol has been asking for the last 30 years. Let's build the wall. You know, I also have encouraged the Biden administration. A good thing to do would be sanctions on China, sanctions on Russia, and actually, I think it would be a very good thing if we had a foreign policy that our enemies would know they should fear us, and our allies would know that we are going to stand with them, and that we are not going to turn our back on them. And it is imperative that we let Taiwan know that we are with them as they face every single day. Now, how do we make all of this happen? Here's what I think. The most powerful network, news network right now, anybody know what it is? No, it's not ABC, NBC, CNN, or Fox. It is the YOU. It is you and your network of friends. You are all well informed. And I would imagine that when you're at a kid's baseball game or soccer game or a church group or a bridge group, that people say to you, hey, have you heard this? Do you know if this is accurate? People do not believe what they hear on the evening news. A Gallup poll said 80% of the American people do not believe what they hear on the news. They consider it to be opinion. They don't trust the news. You know who they do trust is well-informed friends and family. So it is up to you. We've got a great message to get out. Because, yes, we have a vision for this country. We want this country to be in better shape than it has ever been, to be stronger. Our military to be stronger and more agile. We want to make certain that we remain the leader of the free world. We want our innovators to continue to innovate, whether it is in manufacturing, whether it is in technology, whether it is in medicine or education. We want that space and that freedom that is necessary for innovation to take place. But it doesn't happen by happenstance unless we, the people, decide that in 2022, we are going to be the people, and we're going to kick up some dust, and we're going to get rid of some office holders that maybe are not representing the people that they are elected to represent. So, let me, in Tennessee, we're pretty good storytellers. Like a good story. So let me tell you two stories. One's about being the people, and the other is a little bit about freedom. Now, Joe mentioned the state income tax battle in Tennessee that I led. And it was not a 4-hour or 4-day or 4-week or 4-month battle. It was a 4-year fight. And it was against the governor of my party. But, he was in his second term, and you know how these second-term governors do. Sometimes they forget what they told you the first time around. So he had made a promise never to support a state income tax, which he was going to push forward, he had decided, because the state needed money. It had been the test case state for Hillary Clinton's health care. And the program had quadrupled in cost. So he said, let's do a state income tax. I said, you know what? You and I, we both ran saying no state income tax ever. So I'm going to keep my word. This is not personal, but if you propose that, I'm going to lead the opposition to it. So I did. And as I said, this went on for a period of 4 years. Now, during this time, one of my state Senate colleagues, who was a squish, decided he was going to give an interview to a statewide network and say that he was willing to talk about this. And they said, well, what about Senator Blackburn? She's leading the opposition. And he said, well, she's a caucus of one. And that hurt my feelings for about 5 minutes. And then I thought about it. I said, you know what? In that Senate chamber, yes, I'm a caucus of one. I'm the only Republican female in there. I'm the only one that is willing to call out the tax and talk about what it would do to our state. But I soldiered on because I knew the minute I walked out of that Senate chamber, I had a caucus of thousands of Tennesseans that stuck with me for 4 years. 4 years. And we defeated that state income tax. Then the people of the state came back and they said, you know what, we're going to amend the state constitution, and it is now part of the Tennessee state constitution. You will never have a state income tax in the state of Tennessee. But see, that is what happens when the people decide to do the impossible, to stand up against the machine, to push back. and to say, we're going to change things. Today, Tennessee is the lowest tax state in the country. It has a balanced budget. It is one of the top 3 states that businesses choose to move to. And we've got a whole lot of Californians, New Yorkers, Illinoisans that are coming our way because they love the freedom that you have here in Tennessee. Now, a story about freedom. This one's kind of fun. Back in the mid-90s, I belonged to this young Republican leader group, or it was actually a young political leader group, and had traveled some for them. They called me and they said, hey, we have some newly minted parliamentarians. They want to come over and watch our elections. We want to send them into Nashville. Would you be willing to host them? It was 12. And they were from an old Soviet bloc country that now they had a representative government. I said, absolutely. I'll be happy to host them. So here they come into Nashville, and I thought, well, need to entertain them. So what do we want to do? Well, if you're coming to Nashville and you're from Europe, you're from another country, you probably want to go see the Grand Ole Opry, and you probably want to eat some barbecue and drink a little Jack Daniels. So I got some Jack Daniels fans over there. I just can't believe it. So I gave them some barbecue and some Jack, and we went off to the Grand Ole Opry. And I got them backstage. They got to meet Charlie Daniels and the Oak Ridge Boys and little Jimmy Dickens and Grandpa Jones. They had a big time. So I said, come on, let's go sit out on the stage, which we did. Riders in the Sky were going to play. I said, let's go sit out on the stage. So I get them out there, I line them up, sit them on the stage. And I look out of the corner of my eye. And there on his knees at the corner of that stage, out of sight, was one of the guys. And I went over, put my hand on him. I said, hey, are you okay? And he looked up at me. He said, I'm great. I'm great. And I said, wonderful. He said, no, I'm wonderful. And here's what it was. When he was behind that iron curtain, they had a radio. And they could pull in Radio Free Europe. They could pull in some programming. And he would listen to the Grand Ole Opry. To him, that was the sound of freedom. People dancing, people singing, people playing music, people clapping, people celebrating. That represented freedom. He said, if I ever get out of here, I'm going to go kiss the ground they walk on. And he did it. But see, this is our choice, and this is why elections matter. This is why who governs matters. Because you have the opportunity to make a choice, not for today or tomorrow, but for your kids and grandkids. And it is up to you to decide what freedom is worth to you. It's your choice. Because you live in a free country. And you can follow Reagan's advice to remember, we don't pass it on in the bloodstream. Every single generation has to fight for it. So, 2022 is pivotal. Don't let anybody tell you it is not. It is pivotal. We have to take the House and the Senate because we have got to have a red wall to stop this blue wave and to keep it from continuing to roll Illinois is going to have to be a big part of doing that. So, it is up to you if you want to have a Republican governor, if you want to have a Republican U.S. Senator, if you want to change people that are in these congressional seats. It is going to be up to you because we have to take the House, we have to take the Senate, we have to do what Lincoln said to do, which is we, the people, be the people. So, are you with me? All right. Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to win? All right. Have a great one. Thank you.
Senator Blackburn, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Felici is with me, and let me call on Joe, please, to make a special presentation to the senator.
We have an award that we would like to present to the senator, and I will read it, assuming that I can read it with my contacts. It's the Spirit of Lincoln Award, presented by the Northwest Suburban Cook County Republican Lincoln Day Dinner, June 2nd, 2022, to Marsha Blackburn, United States Senator from Tennessee, a champion of anti-tax and government accountability. So thank you very much for being here.
Executive Committee?
Executive Committee, want to come up? Are you sure? Okay. All right. We will.
Senator, we know you have a plane to catch. Somebody will ship that to you? Or you?
Yes.
All right. Very good. Thank you. I'm sorry Senator Blackburn has to leave us, but you know she has people who are expecting her in Tennessee tomorrow morning, and she cannot disappoint the people of Tennessee. She certainly made a tremendous gift to the people of Illinois tonight. Let me tell you something about Senator Blackburn, something else about Senator Blackburn as she leaves the room. Before she was ever in government, she was an organizer of the Young Republican Club in Williamson County, Tennessee, and she served as the county chairman of the Republican Party in Tennessee. So she knows exactly what life is like when you're a YR or a precinct committeeman or a township committeeman or a county chairman. She's been there, as they say proverbially, carrying water for the elephant. She knows the importance of the work that the people in this room do to make democracy work and to reform our society. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let me invite you to have dinner, and we'll be back in a little bit for the rest of the program. We have a very important part of the program left. While the people who are going to be talking, whom I will be introducing momentarily, are speaking, dessert and coffee will be brought out. I want to encourage the servers here at the White Eagle to continue with the service. Please bring out dessert and coffee. It's worth having the dessert. I'm seeing it go by. It looks very good. I'm looking forward to having my own while we listen to these speakers who are about to speak. Now, what we're about to do is hear. Come on, people. I know it's great to be together. It's just astonishing to look around the room and realize that there are this many Republicans in the Chicago area. It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling. And you know, if you look around the room, you see this many Republicans all excited about being together. We're going to make a difference this year. But what you need to do now is bear with me so you can meet the people who are going to be at the point of the spear trying to make that difference. I'm about to call on the people who are the people in the arena, the people who are, we all pledge to each other as Americans under our Declaration. What makes us Americans? No matter who else we are, what ethnicity, what religion, what our histories, what our languages, whatever there is about us, what do? We pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor that we will live out the principles of the Declaration and we will be faithful to our Constitution. Well, these are the people who are literally putting their lives, their names, their fortunes, and their sacred honor on the line. Now, we have invited tonight to speak all of the Republican candidates for the United States Senate, for our nomination for United States Senate. And we have invited tonight to speak all of the Republican candidates for governor of the state of Illinois. Now, unfortunately, only one of the candidates for the United States Senate accepted our invitation. I will be calling on her, and if you want a hint as to who she is, look around. Look up here on the podium, you might get a hint. But now, one of the great civic organizations in Illinois decided tonight, of all times, to convene a debate of all the Republican candidates for governor. So they're not here. They were all invited to be here, but they're all at that debate, and that makes sense. They need to be talking to the people through television and so forth tonight to be together, so they are not here. But most of them have sent representatives. In all the cases of those who have sent representatives, they sent their candidates for lieutenant governor to be with us tonight. So I'm going to call upon those candidates for the United States Senate and those candidates for lieutenant governor who are in the room to address us. Now, to be fair, we're going to call upon them. Stay there, Kathy, you're next. To be fair, we're going to call upon them in ballot order, and each of these speakers is given 3 minutes. And to be fair, I'm instructed to enforce that time limit. So if they get to the 3-minute mark, we have a timekeeper here who's going to let them know when they hit the 3-minute mark. And at that point, I'm going to have to be a little bit intrusive to make sure that each respects the ground rules to be fair to the others. So the ground rules are the same for absolutely everybody. And with that, let me call up to the stage all candidates who are present who are seeking the office of United States Senator from Illinois. And I see one person in the room, and she happens to be a close personal friend of mine. She is a lawyer whom I respect highly as a professional and as a personal friend of my wife, Kathy, and me. And you should know this about this woman. I can take this liberty about her. She has discharged in her life many roles, many functions, as a policy analyst, as an orator, as a lawyer, as an advocate. But the single most important job I've ever seen her do is as a mom. She's a mom of 6 children. Look at how young she is. She's already a grandmother. It's about time we sent somebody to Washington who had some serious training in the most important of all professions, and that is motherhood. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to present to you for 3 minutes a candidate for the Republican nomination for United States Senate, Kathleen Salvi.
Thank you, and welcome all in this room, Northwest Suburban Republicans. We are going to cause this red tide to happen right in this room. We will be victorious in November. Thank you so much, Joe, for your remarks. And let me start my 3 minutes here with a bottom line. Kathy Salvi is the candidate who can consolidate and join the populist part of the Republican Party, the establishment part, and the good old conservative part of this party in order to, from June 29th on, succeed and defeat Tammy Duckworth. And I'm going to ask you all for that. I make a promise to work to secure our border, to return to energy independence again, to bring value to American currency and balance our budget, and to put parents in the driver's seat of our children's education. And this will be done if I could ask each one of you in this room to become our megaphone. We will do it if each one of you with your friends and family go to kathysalvi.com, see where I stand on the other issues that are so important to this state and to this nation, and come on board. And I want each one of you to represent Kathy Salvi for U.S. Senate wherever you go. Get a sticker, talk me up, and this is how we're going to have Republican victory from the top of the ballot on down. I am joined today happily by my 2 daughters, Katie and Mary, their husbands Gary, and my wonderful husband of 34 years. This is a Salvi team effort here, and my sons are traveling around the state representing me elsewhere. So let me tell you with my 1 minute left, a little bit about myself. My great-great-grandpa came to America in the mid-19th century. At this time, my extended family is raising the 7th generation of our family in Illinois. As an attorney, I have been fighting injustice and defending our Constitution my entire life. I have traveled to all 102 counties of Illinois fighting for the values that we, as Republicans, all share. Illinois is rich in natural resources, and its best resource is its people, the most salt of the earth people on this planet. I am fighting for the nomination to become your next U.S. Senator because I'm fighting for our children and our grandchildren, our very survival. I'm running for them. I want to make this state a place where people flock to and are proud of instead of flee from. I know Illinois. I love Illinois. I am Illinois. And with your support, I will fight and defeat Tammy Duckworth and return this Senate seat back to Republicans in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy Salvi. Will Stephanie Trussell please make her way up here? While Stephanie is coming up here, let me note that raffle tickets are still being sold, and that's an important little vehicle in which you can support the efforts of these townships. May I ask the young people who are selling raffle tickets, you stand and wave and identify yourselves? The raffle ticket sellers, here they are. Spread yourselves out while the next couple of talks are going. Would you work your way through the room? Finish the dessert and then work your way through the room, okay? The first listed candidate on the ballot for governor is Darren Bailey, and I am delighted now to recognize for 3 minutes his wonderful running mate, Stephanie Trussell. Ladies and gentlemen, for Lieutenant Governor of Illinois, Stephanie Trussell.
Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to address you. I've been spending so much time south of 80. Now I know there are Republicans up here north of 80, and you guys clean up very well. This is actually my second time here at this Lincoln Day dinner. I came last time as a radio host for WLS, and so I know a lot of you listen to me from 9 to midnight, and so just because you're used to hearing my voice as you fall asleep, some of you might get drowsy, but that's the person that you will hear every Sunday. Well, as we know, I am on the ticket with Darren Bailey. It is often a question that people ask me, how did a Southern farmer meet a fast-talking grandma from the west side of Chicago? And I can only say it's God, because a year ago, this was not on my vision board to run for office. I love interviewing candidates. I love interviewing politicians, but it never occurred to me that I would be in this position. In June, Jeannie Ives asked me to run for her old seat. I got excited about that opportunity. I started researching the woman that I was going to defeat. There was no question in my mind, because she was a liberal woman with 3 names. I knew I was going to take her out. And just as I was getting accustomed to that process and that thought, David Smith from Illinois Family Institute called me and said, you should meet the Baileys, and they should consider you for lieutenant governor. And I don't know how many people in this room have had an opportunity to meet Darren and Cindy. Once you meet them, you're all in. I'm telling you, they're great people, because they're the real thing. On my way home with my husband from that interview, I said to him, there's no way I'm going to be the last man standing, but I knew that I wanted to work or volunteer or do something for Darren Bailey. I'm going to tell you a secret. I am having the time of my life. I should have run for office a long time ago. I am going south of 80, where I'm meeting people with dirt in their fingernails. They're farmers. They're people that can't flee the state like so many people have done over the last year. They are committed to staying here, as am I, as Darren is. What I love about Darren, he did what Mark Levin tells us to do. He tells you to run for school board, run for state rep, and then run for state senate. And he's navigated that process fearlessly. He has stood up to the shutdowns and to everything else, the enemy. And we haven't really been talking about the enemy, and that's J.B. Pritzker along with the Democrat Party. They have teamed with the dark side to try to steal the innocence of our children, and that's what I'm fighting for. I want to make sure my granddaughter Sadie learns how to count and to read before she learns all the other things about body parts and things that she shouldn't even be thinking about as a 6-year-old. We're going to fight to protect our children. That's my #1 goal. In addition to making Illinois home again for people that fled because they couldn't afford to stay here, the quality of life. And I'm going to tell you really quickly, I love Illinois. It is the best kept secret. It is the heart of the United States. I'm meeting people and I'm hearing about what Illinois used to be. Pana used to provide all the flowers for the Rose Parade, and it's the museum of what used to be. Darren Bailey and I are committed to making it a place where people want to come and they feel that they don't have to leave. Go to baileyforillinois.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you very much, Stephanie Trussell, and thank you for setting a very good example of keeping right to that time limit. The next listed candidate on the ballot in this month will be Richard Irvin, and his running mate is here, Avery Bourne, the Honorable Avery Bourne. Let me ask Avery to come forward, please. And while she's making her way up here, again, notice that the young people who are peddling the raffle tickets are working their way through the room. Hail them over and buy a ticket. Ladies and gentlemen, State Representative and perhaps future Lieutenant Governor of Illinois, Avery Bourne. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here. You know, I was listening to Senator Blackburn talk, and I used to listen to the Grand Ole Opry on WSM every week on our family farm, and it brought back a lot of memories of how I grew up. So I am from Central Illinois, down where we listen to the Grand Ole Opry. My husband, Toddler, and I live on our family's sesquicentennial farm. And so my roots in Illinois run really deep. And that's not something that you can move to another state. You can't transplant those deep roots to another state. And so I knew, as my generation was leaving, I've got a brother in Texas and a brother in Missouri, saw my generation leaving, I knew I had to step up and make a difference to make this a state that people could stay and a place where people could be proud of. And so I raised my hand and became the youngest state lawmaker in Illinois history and immediately took on the tough fights. And we've had a lot of tough fights these last 3 years against J.B. Pritzker. And I led the fight against J.B. Pritzker's radical abortion policies. I helped lead the fight against these crazy gerrymandered maps that take away our voice. I fought against these anti-police policies that are literally killing people and making our families less safe. But I looked at my little toddler and I knew, I've got to do more for you, because all of you who are parents have been brought up a lot tonight. As soon as you become a parent, your whole life changes, and you realize you have to do a lot more to make this a place where they can live and where they can thrive. And so I met a man named Richard Irvin and knew he was best suited to take on the challenge of fixing this state. He was raised in the projects to a single teenage mother, pulled himself up by his bootstraps, served our country, the greatest country in the world, overseas, came back, became a prosecutor, helping make his community more safe by putting criminals behind bars where they belong. And then, we need more people doing that these days. And then he went on to become mayor of his hometown, making his hometown a better place. And I know he was best suited for this moment because there's 2 tasks here. The first task is to take out J.B. Pritzker, and Richard Irvin is uniquely qualified to do that. He beat Madigan's candidate for mayor, and he will beat J.B. Pritzker in the fall. You know how I know that? Because J.B. Pritzker's already teaming up with Republicans and meddling in the Republican primary to take us out because he does not want to face this ticket in the fall. But the other challenge is the more important and more difficult challenge, and that's the challenge of governing and fixing our state. Richard increased the police budget in Aurora and crime went down. He brought in economic development. He lowered property taxes every year. He has fixed his community, a Democratic community that he implemented conservative policies and it works. So if you want to take out J.B. Pritzker this fall, and if you want to fix our state and take our state back, we are the team and the ticket to do it. Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here.
Thank you so much, Avery. Well done. Avery Bourne, thank you very much. The next candidate on the ballot will be Gary Rabine, and may I ask, please, Aaron Del Mar to come forward. While Aaron's making his way forward, let me note, I told everybody toward the beginning of the dinner that there actually is a Republican Party in Chicago, and I told you that its chairman is here. He wasn't in the room at that moment, but Steve Bolton is with us right now. Steve? Hello, Steve. The chairman of the Republican Party of Chicago. Now, this is a familiar face. Aaron Del Mar, of course, is a sitting Cook County committeeman, a member of the Central Committee of Cook County, and indeed is the former chairman of our county party. He is running for lieutenant governor of Illinois on the ticket with Gary Rabine. Welcome, Aaron Del Mar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I love to see it. It's Lincoln Day dinners. This is my 12th consecutive Lincoln Day dinner, and I'm excited to be here. So as you know, I'm running for lieutenant governor with Gary Rabine, and it's been a very exciting, adventurous trip. When Gary asked me to run for lieutenant governor, I'm like, this is going to be amazing. We're going to go all around the state. People are going to be cheering our names. We're going to go to all these Lincoln Day dinners. It's going to be amazing. The only thing I got right was the Lincoln Day dinners. You know, as we started this campaign, we've been campaigning everywhere. And we've been called so many different things. I've been called, you know, uncooperative, hostile, and socially abrasive. And that was just my ex-wife to start out. As we continued on the campaign trail, I was called a misogynist because I believe in the rights of the unborn. I've been called a racist because when people say, oh, they're mutual combatants, I call them gangbangers. People get mad and they say that I'm transphobic because I don't want boys playing in my girls' softball league. These are the issues that are happening in Illinois. You know, as you look through all the candidates that are coming up here, you're going to have a plethora, a menagerie of different candidates you can pick with. If you want to get a farmer from 5 hours away, we got somebody for you. If you want to pick somebody that's going to win the biggest beauty contest on the planet, we got somebody for you there too. If you want to find somebody that's going to tell you about all the wonderful things of Aurora and how it's a cornucopia of great living, we got somebody for that too. And I don't know about you, but when I go to Aurora, it's the gamble, and when I leave, it's 90 miles an hour to get the hell out. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to be a leader, that has done it, that has actually built business in Illinois, not because of Illinois, but in spite of Illinois, then Gary Rabine is your guy. You know, 30 years ago, if you would have met this guy, you wouldn't have voted for him. The guy was a hillbilly, right? He had a mullet, his sleeves were off. He's in an 82 Chevy with some hand tools, literally digging ditches. But he found the love of his life. He found his faith. And he built a business that's one of the largest businesses in Illinois, right? That's not a politician, that's a leader. You know, everyone that's going to come up here is going to say, I'm a fighter, I'm going to fight for your life, I'm going to fight for Second Amendments, I'm going to fight to lower taxes. I got news for you, I'm the only fighter here. I fought 13 times in a cage. And people say, how do you expect to be the next lieutenant governor of Illinois when you're a cage fighter? I say that makes me uniquely qualified to be a Republican in Illinois. Because you don't get involved in Republican politics in Illinois if you're not ready to take a punch and throw a punch. And you don't get involved in cage fighting unless you're ready to take a punch and throw a punch. So as all of us Republicans here today unite, let's unite on one thing that we understand. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And that's how we're going to win in November. Rabine Del Mar on June 28th.
Well done. Thank you. Aaron Del Mar. The next candidate on the ballot is Jesse Sullivan. And here representing Jesse, the next candidate on the ballot is Jesse Sullivan. And here representing Jesse Sullivan is his running mate for Lieutenant Governor, Kathleen Murphy. Kathleen Murphy. Well done.
Good evening. My name's Kathleen Murphy. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor with Jesse Sullivan. I'm also the mom of 2 school-age kids, and I've worked for about 10 years to elect conservative, reform-minded candidates to office in Illinois and to advance conservative reform policy solutions for the state of Illinois. So I have seen what's happened in this state over the past 10 years. I know what the problems are. I understand the solutions, and I get the political landscape. I am ready on day one to lead along with Jesse Sullivan. But you know what? It's going to take everybody, all of us in this room, to actually save Illinois, right? Because the thing about conservatives is we don't wait. When there's something wrong, we don't wait for somebody else to come along and solve our problem. We stand up when we should stand up. And when 2/3 of our kids are not reading or performing math at grade level, and our schools are more focused on indoctrinating them than educating them, we stand up, we organize, and we're at those school board meetings to defend our kids. When Governor Pritzker shut down businesses across the state, we stood up and we went and patronized the businesses that were keeping their doors open. When crime is on the rise across the state, we stand up to defend our police. And Jesse Sullivan is someone who always stands up when he should stand up. He has spent his life putting himself in some of the most difficult situations on earth to lift people up, to create economic opportunity, and to protect people in harm's way. Now, I hear all the time, well, you guys are outsiders. Jesse's not held office. You've not held office. I'm fine with that. Because let's take a look at what outsiders have done in this past year. It was parents and grandparents and students and teachers who band together across the state to push back on Governor Pritzker's illegal mask mandate and won. It was the most significant conservative victory in the past 3 years. You have a choice in this election. We are going to need to nominate someone who aligns with our values, who can beat Governor Pritzker in a state as diverse as Illinois, and who can lead once he's in office, and that is Jesse Sullivan. He is a social, fiscal, constitutional, America First conservative. He was born on a farm in Petersburg, Illinois. He went to business school at Oxford and Stanford. He's built businesses across the world. And he is raising a family of 5 kids and 2 foster kids. He understands young families. Jesse is someone who is focused on solutions, unlike some candidates in this race who are focused on filling up your mailbox with lies because they can't run on their own records. We are so honored. We are so honored to have the support of many people in this room, including the Wheeling Township Republican Organization's endorsement. We would be honored to have your support on June 28th, and we look forward to working with you in the general.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Thank you, Kathleen Murphy. Well, that exhausts our list of candidates for tonight. I think one message, one takeaway for all of us Republicans tonight is we have some wonderful choices, some wonderful candidates among whom to make choices. Now I have the great privilege of introducing to you another longtime friend of mine, a great American, a great Republican who truly works in the trenches where it counts to provide the wherewithal to make sure that we can do the things that we're contemplating doing tonight, to win elections in November, to secure ballot security, to make sure that we get an honest count, to make sure that the people get to vote instead of having their votes cast for them. And that person is the chairman of our state Republican, the Illinois State Republican Finance Committee, Vince Colber. Come forward, Vince. Vince is not a candidate, but he's leaping to this task because he believes in our country, believes in the cause, and I'm delighted to present you my friend Vince Colber. Vince, go get him.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, first of all, I want all of you to take these program books and open up to the most important page, 86. And that is an executive summary of what I'm going to talk about, the Illinois GOP. Please do that. Folks, a state is a terrible thing to waste. Illinois was full of promise, natural and man-made advantages when I moved here after college in the 70s. Illinois has way underexploited these advantages in those intervening decades. You all know the current categories of concern, but let me give you just one more. Congressional districts, they're based on population. The more people you have, the more districts you get. Illinois had 27 congressional districts when I moved here. Following the 2020 census, however, we're down to only 17. A district encompasses 700,000 people. Illinois would have 20 million people today if we had just held ground. Republican-led Texas, Florida, and yes, Tennessee have used legal immigration friendliness, income tax elimination, and deregulation to pick up whole congressional districts. If we're to raise the growth promise in Illinois, we need to turn it red and around. We Land of Lincoln Republicans hit bottom in 2020 after barely raising $200,000 in the prior year. We fielded only 50 candidates for state rep seats versus 118 possible. But good news is we hit bottom. We succeeded in a state Supreme Court recall, setting the opportunity this year to gain a majority. And thanks to Ken Griffin's leadership and to many of you here, we achieved a significant margin of defeat to defeat the Pritzker tax hike amendment. Don Tracy became our party chair. Democrats ousted Madigan. And so far, this cycle, we are fielding over 100 state rep candidates with the help of IPI and Chicago GOP. Thank you, Steve Bolton and Brian Castle. We've edged out Democrats in candidates for state rep fielded so far. Recently, Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana spoke to us in Chicago, and he says, you can't fix stupid, you can only vote it out of office. And that is the mission of our Illinois Republican Party, to vote stupid out of office. It's embarrassing that we Republicans allow the stupid state party to outraise us in many years 20-1. We do not look smart if we continue to let that happen. Your state party must be robust to have a compelling platform, aid in candidate recruitment, ensure ballot integrity, provide candidate litigation support, and get out the vote. So my assumption here is this: you must be smart. You've joined our Illinois GOP, right? If not, why not? Time is running out. Get smart. Join the Illinois Republican Party tonight. I am Vince Colber, and I am patient. So if it takes you until tomorrow morning, that would just be great. Thank you very much.
Vincent Colbert, the chairman of the Illinois Republican Finance Committee, with great taste in neckwear. Now, Joe Felici, are you in the room? Joe? I need you, Joe. It's time for the raffle.
Will the raffle ticket sellers please bring the tickets up? And I have to apologize. We made a big screw up. If you look in your program, we were supposed to play a video from Freedom Square. It got messed up last year, and I hate to admit it, it got messed up this year. It was my fault. So we will play it again, a newer version next year. I promise, and I told them to, hunt me down to be sure that we put it on. We don't want to play it now because a lot of people have left already. So I apologize to Freedom Square. We'll get it straightened out and do it next year. Okay, how are we doing? And we'll do the tickets and the $2,000 first, $500, and then $250. Are there any more tickets? Jim, do we have all of them? Any more tickets? Everybody turn their tickets in. Last call. It's from Wheeling, Kathy Alpine. Alpine? McAlpine. Okay. She won $2,000. Yeah, and she has to buy a table next year with the $2,000. This next one is for $500. It's a Schaumburg. Brianna Schlinga? I don't know her, but she's from Schaumburg. So Brianna won $500. Last one for $250. Dig deep, Kathy. Elk Grove Village person, Kevin McNabb, won $250. Okay, Joe, do you want to say anything, or are we done? Oh, we got to do God Bless America. That's right. Well, thank you all. We have one more item on the program.
Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you, Kathy Penner. This has been an inspirational evening. I hope you agree. I hope you also agree that any country that can put a man on the moon can abolish the IRS. Isn't that a simple proposition? Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more item in our program tonight, which is to close by honoring our country. And I'm calling Joni Kemper back to lead us in singing God Bless America. Sound system, if you're ready, we're ready for you. And with the singing of this song, we will be adjourned.
Bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night, fight the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Joan, very much. I thank Joan Kemper. I thank all of you. I thank the candidates who were bold enough to step forward and speak. We have a lot of work to do between now and November. It starts in the primary in June. But let's go fight to take our country and our state back. God bless you, God, and I thank you all very much. Good night.